Hello, warriors. So, a year ago, I started my journey on coming off the antidepressants Ecsitalopram, aka Lexapro in the US and Sipralexa in Europe. As you can see from my channel, I encountered a series of problems, not exactly in the process of coming out of it, but mostly after I came out of them. After I quit this med, I had a mixed episode, a major crisis, and although it was no funny ride, I learned a lot in the process. Here are 5 tips that I have and that I have learned in the meantime from things that I've made, mistakes that I made, and things that I read and things that my shrink told me. Here are 5 things that 5 advices that I can give you if you want to quit basically any type of antidepressant. Number 1, this is very important, find a shrink. Find a psychiatrist. I read a lot of comments about people online, a lot of articles, a lot of things, and I see a lot of cases of people who go to their GP to ask for medicine. Do not do this. I personally did it, and I did it because I had enough of psychiatrists at that point. I had been taking Lexapro for 2.5 years, and I started taking it because I had a burnout and a depression. This was in 2015. And by that time, I had seen so many assholes, so many asshole shrinks, so many idiots that claimed to be mental health specialists, and I'm sure they were, but had zero empathy and looked more like supermarkets who gave away meds. These people sometimes, and I said this before and I will repeat it now, it's not every shrink, but psychiatrists sometimes lack the proper training to treat mental patients. And by the proper training, I mean they should have psychotherapeutical training. They should be trained on how to speak to people. I literally encountered psychiatrists who just gave me this bland look. They looked like stones when I was literally crying my ass off in despair. So I had had enough by that time, and I went to when I had my burnout, I went to my GP because I had it with these people. I cannot say this. I had it. What's wrong with my tongue today? Had it with these people, and I went to my GP, and he finally understood me and spoke with me to me with empathy. When I wanted to come off my medicine, he wasn't available, but his let's say pupil, one of the people that work in his office was, and she gave me a plan, and that plan wasn't right. She didn't do it properly because she didn't have the proper knowledge to make my tapper work, which brings me to the second point. Find a good shrink. Don't just go to any shrink. The experiences I had were mostly due to the fact that I didn't know how to look for doctors or anyone for that matter online. I just went to the first one that appeared. And so the second time that I had to find a shrink, which was after this taper and the post-withdrawals of it, and when I had a mixed episode, a mental breakdown after that, you can see more information about it. I'll put it on the link below. I don't want to reference it now, but when I had that crisis, I really looked online for the best shrink I could find, and I found this woman who she wrote a bunch of articles. She had all the info that I needed. She had a lot of references. There were a lot of people talking about it. And so this one was at least someone who knew a bit more what they were doing when they were prescribing meds. The third point was one that this shrink that I found gave me right away, was that my plan was all wrong when I came off my antidepressants. The GP woman that I went to, she was really nice, she meant really well, but she gave me a plan which consisted on doing 1 day on, 1 day one pill, 1 day half a pill, and so on, and then 1 day half a pill, 1 day no pill, and so on. So I would vary between doses each and every day. And this shrink told me right away, this is not the way to do it. You should have something that goes a bit like this. So a linear plan where you go down the dose less and less until you have barely anything in your system, so your brain doesn't go up and down every single day. Fourth advice that I would give you is do it at a stable moment in your life. I did it at a time where I had some time in my hands, and I thought I wouldn't have any more time. That period wouldn't repeat itself because I have generally quite a busy life. So I wanted to take that opportunity to go off my meds, but the fact is that I wasn't in a stable relationship, even though I wanted to believe I wasn't. And in the middle of my tapper, my girlfriend broke up with me, which just caused chaos in the tapper process. And yeah, this is not the kind of thing you want to have happen when you're doing a tapper of antidepressants. And that's not even the worst of it. Beware, because the worst, for me at least, and as I mentioned, the worst wasn't even when I tried to come off the meds, which I did. And that wasn't even the process of coming off the meds. The worst was the post-withdrawal moments. So 2 to 3 weeks after I came off my meds, I just simply stopped sleeping. I started to become really depressed, and I had a full-blown crisis. And I was still grieving my relationship, so things just became really, really, really chaotic. And I wasn't stable in my career at that time, so I just started full-blown freaking out, basically. So make sure things are stable, prepare yourself, and beware. It's just because it looks like yesterday you took your last pill, so everything is going to be fine. That's false. It could be that the post-withdrawal will hit you in 2 or 3 weeks, and in that time you want to have a stable ground, some kind of wall to lean yourself against, which I totally hadn't. And finally, one of the most important things I would say is make sure you have a good support network. I know we can't really control these things, and I'm talking about this because it happened to me. But work on your support network. Who's your support network? Is this your family? Are these your parents? Is this your partner? Are these your friends? Is it your job? I realized that I had really I'm a person who generally likes to be alone. So during my breakup, I would spend a huge amount of time, huge amounts of time, what's wrong with me, by myself, and I would like it because I like being by myself. But what I realized when shit really hit the fan was that three of the people that I considered my biggest friends weren't there. I have no contact with my family because they're abusive. You can see it on other videos that I can also link for you, and I will speak more on this channel. And also, I just had to, some things I really had to start from scratch. Luckily, I had people in my life that I met at the time in the middle of all the chaos that were really supportive and didn't leave me. And surprisingly enough, those people have more to do with me than the 3 people that left my life. So maybe there was a meaning for this all. But try to see if you have your support at hand when you're doing this. I really hope this goes well for you. I think you're doing a good thing. I don't think we should have these chemicals in our bodies for too long. I myself am coming off all the shit that I had to take during my mixed crisis. I am still not coming off all the shit, but I will come off some of the shits. And I know that it's something to be proud of, because we still don't know what psych meds can do to us. I'm living proof of that. I really had a scary moments after I came off my drugs, after I came off my Ecsitalopram, where I became seriously suicidal. And I believe this is not just due to the post-withdrawal effects of Ecsitalopram, but it was largely due to it. So these things do crazy shit to our brains. So it's good that you're doing this. I wish you really good luck, and I hope it goes well for you. I know it goes well for a lot of people. So I hope you are one of those people. I really sincerely do. And have courage. I believe that you can do this, and happy healings.